Hello, my name is Marcy, and I'm going to talk to you today about a famous artist named Frida. I will tell you a little bit about her history, when she was born, how she grew up, how she became an artist, some tragic things that happened to her, and what ended up happening to her when she died at the end of her life. She was born in July of 1907. She was a Mexican surrealist painter. She was born to a pretty unhappy marriage. Her parents were not very happy together. They did have 4 daughters. She grew up during the Mexican Revolution. There were many times while she was growing up that her mother would have to pull her and her other daughters inside because of gunfire and other things going on outside where it wasn't safe for them. She was developed or diagnosed with polio when she was 6 years old. She was very into sports and boxing as a child, despite her medical condition. In 1925, she was riding on a bus that collided with a trolley, and she was in a very tragic accident where she broke her spinal column, her collarbone, her ribs, her pelvis. She had 11 fractures in her right leg. She had crushed and dislocated her right foot, and she had a dislocated shoulder. There was also an iron rod that pierced her pelvis and her abdomen, and it damaged her reproductive organs so that she could not ever have children on her own or any other way. She was hospitalized and in a full body cast for 3 months. And after that, she fully recovered to where she could walk and she could work, but she did walk with a cane, and she had offsets of pain for the rest of her life that would be extreme, and she was on medication, and it never went away. She was bedridden, and at this time, when she was sick after her injuries, her mom made her an easel, and her dad brought her oil and acrylic paints, and she would lay in her bed in the full body cast, and she would paint self-portraits of herself. And she did this over and over for 3 months until she was talented or realized her talent and began, pursuing art instead of the medical career that she was going to school for before her accident. She said once, and it's a famous quote of hers, that I paint myself because I am often alone and I am the subject that I know best. She did 143 paintings in her life, and 55 of those were self-portraits. They often showed herself as being in pain, or they showed her reproductive system. They were usually always depressing because she wasn't very happy ever since her accident with her body because it was damaged. The Louvre ended up picking up one of her paintings, and she's the first Latin American artist from the century that the Louvre ever showcased. When she died in 1954, she was 47 years old, and some believe that it was from her illness, and some think that it wasn't an accidental death, that she may have killed herself. There was never an autopsy to show her exact death. And when she died, she was cremated, and her remains were put into an urn that is shown at her house that she lived in, which has now become a museum, and it shows different artifacts and art that she made herself, now still today. She wasn't really recognized until the 1980s, and there was a book written about her that became a worldwide bestseller. There were 2 movies made about her. The second one was done in 2002, and it grossed $58 million. Salma Hayek played her, and it also starred Ashley Judd. In 2006, there was an auction where one of her paintings sold for $5.6 million, which is the most money that has ever been made off of a Latin American artist. She is studied today as one of the most famous surrealist painters that we've had from Latin America. And there are many things about her that people use to learn from the Mexican culture. She painted a lot of colors from Mexico, and a lot of her inspiration came from her own accident and personal tragedy and from the Mexican Revolution that she grew up in. And there's a lot that we can learn about her and from her artwork today.